VertiMax can only be used for one athlete at a time. Now this was true about 30 years ago when the VertiMax was first introduced. It was a one platform with 4 bands. One athlete stands on it, puts that belt on, loads at the waist, and do their jumps. We've grown over the years, obviously implemented new technology with the equipment. Now we have the V8 and the V8 EX platform. Those are 8 bands on them. So what you can do actually is you can actually train up to 5 athletes at a time on our platforms. And then depending on the Raptor, you can get 1 to 2 athletes. So with your V8, you can have 1 athlete doing their jumps, and then you can have 4 other athletes doing some sprint and speed training actually off the platform to 10 yards or 20 yards, depending on the model they got. With the Raptor, we have our EX, our single band Raptor EX, obviously 1 band. You're gonna train 1 athlete. And then with the Raptor dual band, it's gonna have 2 bands that go about 25 yards. You can actually train up to 2 athletes at a time. Regular resistance bands can do the same thing the VertiMax can. Well, true to a certain extent. So, just take a regular traditional band, stretch that band out. The more you stretch it, the greater the resistance increases. VertiMax technology it's an extra thick band, almost similar to a bungee. And a patented technology is pretty much the pulley system. So it's an extra long band that runs through a pulley system, which helps with that consistent resistance. So we have our V8 model. It's going to go out 10 yards, consistent resistance, start of the platform all the way out. And what I mean by that is you're loaded to the resistance band and you're running up to 30 feet or even 120 feet with the Raptor EX, and that's gonna remain consistent throughout as that band stretches. You can't do that with the regular resistance band. Like I said, you take a regular resistance band, say load up an athlete at the waist, and you're holding it, you gotta run with that athlete to get that 40 yards and remain that resistance. Or if it's loaded to a wall, it's gonna go out and yank back. Also, you sometimes see like the VertiMax hack where some people put the bands across their chest and then load them up at the dumbbell. Now that's great. Obviously you're gonna get some work out of that because you're putting in resistance. But when those athletes go to squat, that resistance breaks tension. The VertiMax, when you go all the way down, there's gonna be no break in that tension at all. So that whole range of movement, basically any movement you're doing with the VertiMax, it's always gonna have that consistent tension of resistance with the equipment. It's too difficult to use. So this makes sense if it's your first time seeing the equipment, or maybe you just tried it once and you had no idea where to start. Well, the good news is VertiMax has an app. So there's actually sports programs on there. There's vertical training programs, speed training programs. All that is on the app. There's even stuff on the app that actually shows you how to set up your equipment when you first get it. Shows you explaining about the accessories, breaks down everything for you. So definitely misunderstand that, but it really is simple to use, and even with the app, it makes it even easier. The VertiMax takes up too much space. That's kind of like a yes and no question depending on how you use it. But however, with the VertiMax platforms, a couple things. First of all, they don't need to be bolted into the ground. There's actually suction cups that hold that to a smooth surface, so you can always pick those up and move them. So they don't need to be bolted. It's not a stationary object. The second part is that there are wheels on the platform. So I'm talking about like the V8 and the V8 EX. There's wheels on each side. So all you do is flip that up and you can roll that around. I have plenty of customers and clients that like to store that behind the bleachers in the gym, or they'll put it in a storage closet, or they'll lean against the wall in the weight room and bring it out when they're using it. Or I even have people that actually travel with it, meaning, guys will bring it to the field when they do field work. It just takes too long to get in that waist harness, or it takes too long to get the athlete loaded up with the accessories to start training, which I understand that. Now look, to fully maximize the potential of the VertiMax, it'd be great if you can load up at the waist, put the hip flexors on, do some hip flexor work and ankle straps, but I understand that's not always doable. But if you do have the equipment, or you are considering the equipment, there's 2 accessories that come with the equipment that are awesome, which help speed up any type of training you're doing. For one, it's the hand grips. And what you can do with that, instead of always loading at the waist and clipping those bands in at the waist to do your jumps, you load those handles up to the bands that are in the platform itself on the ground. Your athletes can just step on the platform, grab those handles, and they can go down and do their jumps. They can work on their explosive movements. They can work on their triple extension, all by just walking over the platform and grabbing those handles. The second accessory, the 360 belt, it's this oversized loop with the 360 belts. So if you're doing any speed, agility, or any type of movement work, all it takes is for me just to step into this, and the band's loaded up, and then now this is going to rotate with me across all angles of motion when I move, and it's easy to get in and out of when you're an athlete training. So you guys can rotate in and out easily when you're using the 360 though.